Hey guys, it's Christina from Sunny Cove Farm. I hope you had a good winter. I'm sorry it's been so long since I posted a video. I was busy having the baby and doing all the things, but I am back in the kitchen and filming and just excited to touch base with all of you. I wanted to talk about cultured cream today and just using older raw milk products and how we can use them in our kitchen. I actually really love old milk. I'm using that term because it's, a little bit more familiar with people than something like cultured. But basically, that is what a cultured product is. It's just raw milk that's been sitting in the fridge for a week. Probably like more, I would consider it more cultured after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. This cream in question today I'm using is actually over a month old. It still smells fresh. It's delicious smelling. It smells like sour cream. And it is going to make our bread so fluffy and delicious. I cannot wait. So let's go along and follow the recipe. Okay, here I have my mixing bowl and my coffee because we need that right now. That's better. With a newborn, I'm still getting up 3 times a night. Recovering from that. Alas, I'm going to add, I don't measure anything, but I'm going to tell you measurements. So just trust me. I'm adding about a cup of this clabbered cream. It's the bottom of the jar, so it looks a little bit more chunky than the top of the jar. The top of the jar is more yogurty, but it's still delicious and perfect. Now I'm going to get some warm water from the tap. Okay, now I'm adding 4 cups of warm water. Next thing I need is our yeast. Now I do use this in my sourdough, but for today's episode, I just wanted to show yeast bread because that's a little bit more accessible to people. So for yeast, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons, sprinkle it over so it's easier to proof, and we'll let that just sit for a couple minutes and get frothy and foamy. Okay, it's been about a minute and it's starting to develop a little bit. You can see bubbles along the side of the bowl, so I know that this yeast is active. Plus, I just made bread an hour ago with it, so we're good to go. I'm sprinkling some organic sugar, a half a cup. You can use honey as well. I find that it just mixes a little bit easier with the organic sugar, but yeah, honey is great, maple syrup, anything that makes it a little bit sweeter. The last thing I'm going to add is salt. Now, there's a mixed conversation about salt and yeast. Salt will kill the yeast, but I'm about to add flour to this. So if you're letting your yeast proof and sitting there, you don't want to add the salt. It's okay to do it at this stage as long as you immediately go to adding flour. You're not going to kill the yeast. And I'm taking about 4 tablespoons because a lot goes a little way in bread, I feel like, and we like nice salted bread. Okay, I am here at my mixer. Hopefully this viewpoint's okay with you. And I'm gonna start adding, I have my Einkorn and my all-purpose white bread flour. So I'm gonna start adding in Einkorn a cup at a time. Now my recipe, I use mostly Einkorn, but I do add some bread flour to help with a little bit of the consistency. I find that it just, Einkorn's a little bit wetter than regular flour. So we're 3 cups in. I'm not leveling them off because it's more about what it looks like. So I'm going to raise this up. And now what we're doing is we're developing the sponge, is called. Okay, that was 6 cups. This is the sponge stage of yeast bread. So you can see the bubbles coming. All the ingredients are incorporated into like a nice cohesive mass, but it's not looking like bread dough yet. This stage is important because if you just chuck all the ingredients in at once, you're going to have like bits of flour in your bread. So you want to make sure you develop this one first. Then you're going to start adding flour until the bread turns into a good consistency. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to start adding flour in now. So I've gotten the bread to about 9.5 cups of flour. It's still just a smidge wet. So I'm going to add 1 more cup and it should be about perfect. So 10.5 cups is what we use. Okay, perfect. We're going to cover that and let it rise for 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long it takes me in the garden. Okay, it's been 2 hours. Let's check. It's definitely risen. I'm gonna punch it down, that's the fun part. Okay, this bread texture is a little bit stickier because of the einkorn. So I'm just gonna knead it. I spread some flour down when I pulled it out of the bowl. And then I'm just kind of like evenly distributing it so that it works better. But it's still gonna be, you can see, very sticky. And that's what makes this bread so moist and the crust nice and hard. So we don't want to add too much flour, just enough to make it workable. We also don't need to knead this one a lot. Like some breads, you have to knead a lot. We did most of our kneading in the KitchenAid, and now we're just getting it to where it's workable to form some loaves. So I'm just kind of tucking and smoothing. And now I have a giant loaf, and I'm going to break it into 4 sections and then put them on the cookie sheet. Okay, shaping is super simple. I need just a little bit more flour in my hands. I'm gonna set it to the side though, so I'm not doing too much on here. So I'm taking this dough slicer, breaking it into 4 sections. This recipe makes 4 loaves of bread. If that's way too much bread for you, then you can certainly cut it in half or do a quarter of the recipe. We just have a large family, so this will double in size. And I'm just laying it on the tray. And all I'm doing is tucking it in to form that loaf. Super simple way of forming a loaf. There's lots of different techniques for that. Some people do a jelly roll. I also like this because it tends to rise well without using a Dutch oven. I have Dutch ovens. I don't have 4. And I make a lot of bread, and I don't want to have all that equipment. So I try to do it freeform loaves. And so this works really well with that method. So I've just placed them on my cookie sheet here. And I'm going to do a couple things to get them ready to bake. I'm going to add ghee to the top of the loaves, score them, and of course some nice coarse salt makes them taste delicious. Here I have my ghee. It's so delicious. It's just rendered butter, so it takes the casein out. For some reason, it makes the best crust. I've tried olive oil. I've done lard before, or just water. Some recipes call for like just spraying water. I like ghee the best. I just kind of scoop it on, smooth it out. Casey. And then I'm going to salt and score it. I like using the coarse salt. It's nice and flaky for the top. There's something about like a good salted bread. Not too salty, but like the perfect amount of salt. And then I'm just taking a sharp knife. You can get a razor blade. They make like dough cutters. I don't like a ton of tools in my kitchen. I'm kind of a minimalist. So I just use what I have. And in this situation, it's just a really sharp knife. And here we have this delicious golden brown loaf of bread. This is exactly what I was looking for. It came out perfect. The crust is nice and crunchy, but the inside is soft. And it's lunchtime, so I'm going to cut it up. I love this bread knife. It's really easy to slice things. That one was... The inside's beautiful. It's a good way to make a loaf that's similar to a sourdough if you are not super into keeping a mother and making sourdough. And it has similar benefits because we use the cultured cream. It doesn't have the big holes, but it's still a good texture. We like a good dense bread because I married a German. So something with a little meat to it is always appreciated in this house. And there we have it. What do you think, Kat?